primary custody. Whatever the case may be, we can agree that the father is not living in the household. And most, if not all of us, can agree that this typically has negative impacts on children. As a reminder, I am not a feminist. Children will always be at some form of a disadvantage.
Welcome back, guys. Mike here, Money, Marriage, and Media. And today we are checking out Tanisha Talks. Now, I found out about this young lady from We Need to Talk. She actually sat in the chair and conducted an interview with our guy, Alan. But I wanted to find out some more about her, so I clicked on her channel, and here we are. Let's see what she's talking about. Again, she presented herself as someone who is articulate, well-spoken. She seems educated. Let's hear what she has to say. Today's topic, black women don't want good men, or do we? I figure it's worth discovering, see what we got here, if we need to come back here, right? Let's go.
Is that there seems to be some confusion on what a nice guy is. A lot of people use nice guy and good guy interchangeably, but I believe that they are.
No, they are not. No, on YouTube, they're definitely not. And on this side of the camera, the nice guys do finish last. The nice guy is a guy that is overly attentive. He is basically trying to nice his way into your pants. There. The good man is going to be something totally different. The nice guy is a guy who is literally, it's a simp. It's literally somebody who is just overdoing it there is no sign that he's going to get anything in return. That's why they finish last.
Two vastly different things. Even though I hate this word, I realize that what I'm considering a nice guy is what men would consider a simp. It's a man who is desperate for the attention or affection of women who are not interested in him. Again, this is different than being a good or a kind person. Let me break it down for y'all real quick. A person who is kind is sincere and genuine. They want to be kind because it feels good to be kind. They don't have ulterior motives, and they're not being kind just to get something in return. They do not change how they act depending on who is watching, and they are able to utilize their voice, stand up for themselves, and be assertive. And then we have the nice people. They do not come across as being authentic. They act nice because they feel like it's expected of them. They want people to notice their niceness, and they're often being nice just to get something in return. Often nice because they have a strong desire to be liked, and they can get taken advantage of because of their niceness. If you are a good or a kind man, you're good because that's just who you are. If you're a nice man, you're usually playing the role of being nice to get something in return. So it's more transactional than it is authentic.
Once upon a time, back when I was single, we used to call these guys the white knights, or the knights in shining armor. They putting up a good front, and it's just like, dude, it gets so easy to see through. It's like, bruh, you seriously, you doing too much, man. And of course, women like to cater to them, but they still don't, like, those guys still don't get anything for it. And it looks good in public, but as soon as that woman gets behind closed doors, she's curbing him. She wasn't really that interested in the first place, which means you wasted all that effort for nothing. No, don't be Mr. Nice Guy.
Believe that if you are behaving in your natural state versus playing a role because you're expecting to get something, you're not going to internalize it as much when things don't go your way. For example, I like to think of myself as a trustworthy person. I'm honest, your secrets are safe with me, and even though I'm not perfect, I'm pretty authentic overall. I am aware that these are qualities that men may find desirable, but I'm not a trustworthy person because I'm trying to get a man. It's who I am as a person. These are my values. If I'm dating someone and it doesn't work out, or I feel like he mistreated me, I don't feel like he owes me something just because I'm a trustworthy person. I wouldn't then decide to change being trustworthy because he or anybody else didn't appreciate it, because that conflicts with my internal value system. So the connection that I'm making here is that those who advertise guys being nice and actively say that they're a nice guy, they're often playing a role. They feel as if they're owed the attention of women just because they're nice. Being nice just doesn't cut it. Being authentically kind should be a standard for everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say something here. The qualities that she mentioned about herself, they sound good, right? They should, because they are good qualities. But remember what's actually going on here. She's only going to be that way to the men that she's interested in pursuing, the men that she wants relationships from. So a lot of times we will label, in the relationship side of YouTube, we'll label women like this a pick me. I hate that term too, because it's the dumbest thing ever, right? But the reality is that she's not saying that she's going to be that way just because you're a man. So you gotta read between the lines there. And I know a lot of times we don't do that, but again, this is what high level conversation, right? That's what we're looking for, so we can start moving past these surface level. What do you call it? These surface level topics that are designed, that a lot of times are used to incite the gender war. We got to move past that stuff and find out what's beneath, right? Because again, she's going to be like that when she's interested in you. Stop giving all, and see, this goes back to the whole Mr. Nice Guy thing. You sitting here telling her all your business, and she's just not that into you. You see what is a problem here? No. Let's keep going.
A decent human being doesn't guarantee that you're going to be a top pick. Quick sidebar. Women are telling you that we want you to be a decent, thoughtful person, but we don't want you to force being nice. Being overly agreeable, showering with unwanted affection as a form of a fear response because you're worried that she won't be interested otherwise. And honestly, this isn't specific to men. I think that this should be a standard for everyone. Just thinking about overall well-being, it's not good to overperform and give because you're not confident with the qualities that you possess. I might ruffle some feathers with this. Men love quoting Chris Rock's statement about unconditional love.
A man is only loved under the condition that he provides something.
If your complaint is that men are only valued for what they do for women, why would you use or support the strategy of overgiving, overdoing to get the woman, and then complain that women don't love unconditionally? You literally reeled her in on the condition that you're giving her something. It just seems very counterintuitive. But
it is counterintuitive, but we got what here's the problem though. Okay. We as men, we are going to check each other about simpish behavior. It's like, dude, you are doing too much and you don't even know if this girl likes you, right? We need the women to hold the other women accountable too, though. Because right now in our culture, it's promoted amongst the women that he need to pay for me. No, see, when you say that, you're looking for a guy to lead with his wallet. Gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I've said this multiple times, you should not be leading with your wallet. I mean, if that's your game plan and that's all you know, okay, I would urge you to find another way. But maybe it's just understand what comes with that, though, okay? The minute you don't have it, she's gone. Because that's all you've led with. She doesn't know anything else but that. So all she knows is when you don't have it anymore, well, I guess this is it then, because this is how he was stringing me along and he ain't got it no more. Divorce rate. See what's happening here? So, let's go back to what we always talk about on this channel is that, we got to do a better job of raising our sons and daughters to work in cooperation with each other, right? That's where it starts. Now, but that's a long-term plan, though. Right? Because you're literally talking about raising children. The short term, men, we need to lead with the dime and not with money. Self-discipline, integrity, morals, and ethics. Okay? When you outrank your woman in all four of those categories, she's going to have a hard time not respecting you. And guess what the other benefit that comes with that? Financially, there's only so much you can do because there are only so many resources out here, right? And at times, resources are going to dry up. Hence, you hit the country goes through a recession or whatever. Okay, but there's no shortage in the 4 categories on the dime. Why? Because you control yourself. That's why I say, it's good to lead with those things because you control how much of it that you possess. And, it's like I said. But look, I'm starting to ramble. Let's keep going. Let's get back to it.
But the most valid / interesting point is that Black women are one of the only races of women who have a negative disposition toward nice men. I honestly haven't been exposed to enough women of other races and witnessed their relationship dynamics to agree or disagree with that statement. I did try to find studies on this, but there's not really a lot out there. So these are just my hypotheses based on observation, having a general understanding of psychology, and articles that I found online. Let's revisit the discussion about nice men lacking masculinity. I think that we see this a lot when men do not have a strong male presence when they're growing up. And if they're in a household where they were raised by a woman, she will raise him to be a nice guy, right? So to have those softer skills in a sense, but in reality, she's raising him to be a little bit more on the feminine side. And so it's off-putting for women. Let's talk about fatherlessness. I know that there is an agenda in the media to make us feel like most Black men are not involved fathers, but we can't deny the numbers. These numbers are looking at the living arrangements of children under the age of 8.
Pause. Let's see what we got here. Living arrangements of children under the age of 18 by race and Hispanic origins. This is from 2020. Okay. 2 parents married, 2 parents not married. Yeah, this is pretty accurate because it usually goes Asian, white, Hispanic. Yeah, and yeah, I think the newest data points from the census, the numbers are a little bit off. But you guys get. I think the point is still valid though. Is that we're at the bottom, right? We are, and if you've been watching me, you already know how I feel about nuclear families. That's the way how we're the easiest way for us to rebuild our community, and which means that we need more married couples. We got to normalize marriage again in our couples. It's one of the social constructs that's broken, and we got to fix that. But let's see what we got here. Percents may not sum to 100 due to rounding. White non-Hispanics indicates children whose race were reported as white alone and who were reported not Hispanic. Black alone and Asian alone indicate children whose race was reported as a single race group. Source, U.S. Census. Yeah, okay. Asian alone. No, what is the green? Father only. Whoa. What's going on in the Asian community? They got single fathers. That's higher than everybody else. Okay, and no parent. 8% of kids. Oh my God, that's a new data point for me. I have never seen that. Percentage of kids that have no parents. 8%. Jesus, this is why we need marriage. Because who do you think these kids finna grow up and be? You think they're finna be productive members of society? We're gonna have to. I'm gonna see if I can find this data point because we definitely need to talk about that in the video, especially given the latest comments that I've been receiving in my videos. Y'all can go read them if you want to, but it's a whole bunch of you get the anti-marriage crowd chiming in every now and then, and it's like okay, data says different stuff, but they don't. Of course, they never want to acknowledge that, But yeah, this is wow. Okay, I'm learning something here. Let's go.
18 based on race and ethnicity. Black people have the lowest percentage of households with 2 parents that are married. So we're sitting at about 37.9%. About 46% of households have the mother only. There could be some cases where the parents have split and now the mother has primary custody. Whatever the case may be, we can agree that the father is not living in the household. And most, if not all of us, can agree that this typically has negative impacts on children. As a reminder, I am not a feminist. Children will always be at some form of a disadvantage whenever they don't have a maternal and paternal figure present during childhood and adolescence. Sons will need a man to emulate, and this ties into his masculinity. With daughters, that paternal interaction is her first encounter with a man, and that sets the tone tone for how she will interact with men in the future. When a father figure is not present, it causes havoc. I don't want to regurgitate talking points that you might have heard in other videos, but in summary, fatherlessness impacts self-esteem, emotional well-being and mental health, increased levels of aggression, which leads to increased crime rates, which leads to higher incarceration rates, etc., etc., etc. And
you know what? We're going to end it here. This video is good. It's informative. Like I said, I've already learned something. I'm going to end it here. You guys need to go check this lady out. So I'm obviously going to tag her in the video. Guys, go check out her content. I've already subscribed to her channel. We need more conversations like this where we actually start breaking down the purpose of marriage and relationships, right? She came with some facts, data, and statistics. She's applying them to reality, real life, so we can actually see how these things are affecting us in our community. Intelligent conversation. You know, I'm always for that. So what do we have? What do we have here in summary, right? Well, it's a couple things, because we covered some major talking points: the impact of fatherlessness, nice guys and good men. I'm gonna keep the conversation there, because the fatherless stuff is, we could have made a whole video on just that alone, right? But good guy versus Mr. Nice Guy. At the end of the day, women don't like nice men. Or they don't like Mr. Nice Guy, men who are going overly out of their way to being nice. Because a lot of times women see that as, why are you doing this? Because I don't want to owe you anything, right? Now, this goes, we need to make something clear. We're not talking about just being chivalrous. This is going above and beyond, right? I was just watching another podcast where they asked, it's a show where they're asking the women, about, because Valentine's Day just passed. Did you get any do you have a Valentine's, or did you get gifts? And there were several women on the panel who received gifts, but they're not in relationships with these men. They don't even like these men. Again, you being over, Why Women Deserve Less is a new book that just came out. And while I don't agree with that talking point, in that situation, I agree with it 100%. Why are you giving Valentine's Day gifts to a woman who has no commitment or interest in you? That's a waste of time. Right? Don't do that. Don't do that. Find some common interests and figure out if you guys if there's an attraction level there, and start to build, right? Because otherwise you're wasting your time and your resources. Don't do it. But you still need to be you still should be courteous to men, because men and women are different, right? We have different strengths and weaknesses, and you need to find somebody who is a good match for you. But we're going to leave it here. Like I said, high level conversation. I'm here for it. I've already subscribed, so I'm in for more. I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace. Thanks for making it to the end of this video, but do me another favor, like and subscribe, but also check out these here. Either subscribe or watch videos, one or the other. I don't know which side, but hey, all right.